It's the Cold Beer Surf Club.
Okay,
Perfect.
so I'm going to start with opening these.
There we go.
If I can get it. Yeah, Logan.
There we go. Salud. Or cheers. Whatever one.
Cheers, dude.
Cheers,
Thanks
brother.
for coming up.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
And congrats on, is the movie done?
Well, it's not. 20 sections are finally done as of last Friday. So now we just got to fine tune little things. But then the next thing is picking the order.
Stitching it together?
Yep.
Is that almost harder than putting the parts together?
Nah, I mean, not when you think about like the Grom section.
Yeah.
There's 29 kids collecting from them, their parents or their film, that took 10 days.
10 days.
Yeah. And all 20 parts. There was 5 parts that were turned in. And then there was 15 parts that I did with either Lane Stratton or Aaron Jesse. And those 15 parts took around a month. And out of that month, 10 days consumed of the Grom section.
That's so gnarly.
Yeah. But I think it was worth it.
Dude, I think that was like the one part I saw. It came out sick.
The Groms, I think they're gonna I'm really stoked on the way the Grom section came out, and I think it's a really cool addition to the movie because we've never done a Grom section.
Yeah.
And these kids are so gnarly.
Dude, they're so gnarly now. Yeah, it's so crazy.
It doesn't feel, except for a few of the 8, 9, 10-year-olds. Once you start getting the 14 or 15, the all day Dylan kid, those kids' barrels are on par with the big dogs in the movie.
For sure.
Yeah.
So sick. So, I know. If you grew up in Indo, I guess you kind of got to be on that level, huh?
Yeah. I don't know. I think that kid's got a special knack. I think he's one of those God-gifted kids. Born to get barreled and do big airs.
Yeah, his style's so
But yeah,
sick.
we're there. And the world premiere's 5 weeks away. So I gave myself 3 months to do it. And I feel like we're a bit ahead of schedule.
Nice.
Yeah.
That always feels good.
Yeah, but definitely not in a place where I'm okay, we're good. It's okay, now let's stitch the thing together, make a trailer, get everything done, then focus on the world premiere. Because that's a whole other big production and whole other job and task in itself.
Oh, yeah, putting on an event that big.
Yeah, trying to throw the Grand Slam of the U.S. Open.
So gnarly. How many tickets can you sell?
Venue capacity has around 3,000. And last time we sold out, I think it was 10 days, close to 2 weeks out in advance. Around at least, I know for sure it was 10 days, maybe at the least a week out. And we do half the ticket sales online, and then the other half are sold at all the sponsors, which is Bear Flag, Fish Co., and then Iapono, the Hawaiian street food spot everyone knows about in Costa Mesa, and then at Bonsai Bowl.
Sick.
And at the Frog House.
Yeah, the Frog House.
Yeah, the Frog House.
Some down there.
Yeah, so we put printed tickets in there.
Hell yeah.
And one thing I never do, throwing all the Mickey Avalon concerts, all this stuff in the past, any events that are surf related, never have a guest list. Because all the boys are hey, me plus 15, me plus 10, me, but when you got printed tickets and they say $25 value on each ticket, it feels like you're handing them off, a couple $100 when you're handing them off that many tickets.
But I better buy a couple tickets.
No, you're good. You're in the movie.
So?
You better not.
I got to bring some friends, though.
No.
I don't want it to be me plus 15.
No, we got you. Yeah, no guest list for surf-related events. It's a bad call.
Yeah, because you'll be giving the whole U.S. Open plus Huntington Beach plus Newport a guest list.
Mean, people are with the plus 10s and 20s, they don't realize, fuck. And some guys are hard to say no to. So
yeah, adds up so quick.
Yeah. So yeah, there's been a lot of moving parts all simultaneously, but that's kind of my goal is to get the movie done early so I can focus strictly on the world premiere and then all the other stops we're gonna do after.
Heck yeah! So it's August 2nd.
August 2nd, Huntington Beach, Saturday night of the U.S. Open at Sea Legs on the beach in Huntington.
Damn.
So we have a stadium-sized LED built for the night, and it's pretty big production.
Yeah, well, I was at Snap. Was it Snap 4 that was
Yeah,
there?
yeah.
How many was
You're
that?
on stage, I remember.
Yeah, 3 years ago.
That was 21 because it was at the tail end of COVID. And that's actually why we went with that venue, because you couldn't do inside events at the time.
Of that size, huh?
Yeah, and we ended up loving the venue.
Yeah,
it worked out killer. Yeah, and it was closer to the U.S. Open. Like, it was closer to, down in Huntington, compared to like Snap 3 was at the OC Observatory.
Yeah.
Which is like
right
on the cusp of the other side of the 405 freeway in Santa Ana. And obviously that's a big distance between there and down at the pier in HB. So, and it's a cool feel to have it right there on the beach.
For sure.
Yeah.
So sick.
But and better oxygen and air on the beach outside than fucking at some spot inside. So
yeah, there's some dark corners in the observatory.
Oh yeah. I mean,
I think I was upstairs
and
at one point.
What, the observatories their capacity is less.
Really?
Yeah.
I was upstairs at one point at that premiere with Uncle D, Mason, Christian, and Grayson.
Yeah, I was blown away at that one. Like at who was there. I mean, it was so cool for Mason to bring all them. And actually, they have Coco was telling me they have a cool photo of all of them at my house. Like Uncle D, Pops, Mason, and Coco.
That's sick.
But yeah, that one was a special one because I hadn't made a movie in 15 years.
Was it 15 years between Snap 2 and Snap 3?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's so long.
Yeah, so that was like a kind of a tough one because you don't do anything after 15 years and you come back and you say you're going to do something. I mean, obviously, a lot of people are going to question if you're going to be able to know what you're doing or if you still got it or whatever. And everything had changed so much, We were making, Snap 1 and 2 is on like these GL1s with cassette tapes and whatnot, Fast forward 15 years, everything has changed from, the internet, social media, and everything's on memory cards. It's all, it's way more digital.
And the servers too.
I mean, to be honest, like I really I knew how to put together a movie or whatever, but like, let's put it this way, like we finished the movie like done an hour before the premiere.
Oh shit, that year?
Yeah, the last 3 nights, I had these guys changed for balance. I had one guy, Roddy, was on the left side of me, and John was on the other side, and we were doing 2 parts simultaneously. And I'd sit in the middle, and I'd be working on, let's say 1 part, and then I would be working on another part at the same time. Because I didn't have my shit together as far as like organization. So there'd be clips missing. So I'd be in the editing room and then I'd be trying to call filmers and be like, hey, do you remember that one clip from fucking 9 months ago?
Oh my gosh.
Can you send it over right now? So ever since that, I made sure to finish these movies early. And I made sure to stay organized or have the guys, if like either they or like, remember this whole time with you, everything I kept saying repetitively, every guy in the movie will say, the thing I kept repeating throughout the whole process, just make sure you have your file organized so that when it's time at the finish line, you've got all your keepers ready to go.
Totally. Because then it's easy.
Yeah, and it gives you a really good like inventory of what you have and then what you don't have. Like, like we were able to do. Like we knew you had a bunch of rights, but we knew what you didn't have too. And then you came through with those lefts. But it's the same thing. Like, throughout the whole process, it was like 2.5 years, almost 3 years. It was good for guys to see like what they were sitting on and what they weren't. So, yeah, I think that's why, too, I think we were able to kind of pump this one out really fast because everything was super organized.
Yeah.
And I'm super I just have nightmares of finishing a movie an hour before a world premiere like that.
For sure.
Where with Snap 4, we were done early. And so for the few weeks leading up to it, it felt so good to know that the movie was in the bag and done and I could just focus on the premiere. And then when the premiere sold out, then I was really like,
then you're good.
Fuck, what more can we do?
Totally.
Yeah. So
where else do you think that you're going to try to premiere it?
Well, I know we're going straight to Bali right after. I think Saturday night, August 2nd, Huntington US Open. I think the next Sunday night, I think I'll be on a plane to Bali.
Sick.
And I think we're going to do one at White Monkey Surf Shop with Pete Matthews guys.
Yeah.
Because Pete's kind of been the go-to guy in Indo for Snap for all the filming that we've done over there. He's helped orchestrate, organize, take care of all the boys when they've gone over there, whether it's to go to Lakeys or whatever. So we're gonna do one with him, and then we're gonna do one in Chengdu with Thai Buddha at one of his spots.
With the lawn or something?
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be nuts.
Yeah. I don't know. I think he was saying it's right next door to the lawn, but we're still figuring that out. We had a really good offer to do one at the wave pool in Tel Aviv, Israel, a couple weeks ago, but with everything going on right now, like, fuck, that's not happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Really.
They can play the movie if they want, but
Yeah.
I mean, we're not going.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
don't think. Just stay out of politics, but yeah, I
Yeah.
just don't think it's probably the safest trip to go. Even there's no amount of money that probably is going to have me go in that direction.
Totally.
But I know we're going to do Australia. We're going to do a bunch of shows out there. I think we're going to. I was talking a lot with Jack McCoy. Was like hit me up kind of out of the blue. I thought it was kind of a joke because I'm like, oh, why would Jack McCoy give a shit about Snap, you know? And then we ended up getting on like a Zoom, and then like he was focusing on all his tours, you know, over there, and he was like I want to do this, and I was like, fuck, I'm not ready. I need to make a movie, so I don't have a movie. I don't have anything for you to show over in Oz, you know. So let me I got to focus on this part. And then he's like, okay, well, let's circle back in a couple weeks. So then a couple weeks he's calling again. I'm like, hey, Jack, like, it's not ready, you know, and I'm not ready to commit to this right now. It's okay, let's circle. He would not take no for an answer. Actually, I had a friend like video one of the calls, because at that point I knew how relentless he was, like, which I guess is maybe part of his success, is like, you know, I think you have to be relentless to get shit done. But anyways, he was like not taking no for an answer. And then he sent me a last message, was like, hey, focus on the movie, work your magic, like, sent a really cool message. And then we'll circle back in the beginning of June. And then he passed away like 10 days later.
Crazy.
And his daughter and his son-in-law, who'd been like working with him on the tours and stuff, they called last week out of the blue, and they're like, hey, we're trying to kind of fulfill all the stuff he wanted to do. So it'd mean a lot for us to like have Snap in Australia and do it with you guys and whatnot. And you know, it's Jack McCoy, so of course at that point, if that's the family's like wishes and whatnot, then I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
Sick.
So we're working out the logistics. So we're definitely going to have some shows in Australia. They were talking about like an 18 stop tour or whatever, and I was like, I don't want to do 18 shows. Like
yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. Let's pick a couple, you know, key locations: Sydney and the Gold Coast, and in Melbourne, and you know, the West Oz, and kind of keep it kind of
4 stops.
Yeah, something more in that range. And then we're gonna do 3 in Brazil.
No way. Sick.
Yeah,
that'll be fun.
yeah, because we finally got like quite a few Brazilians in Snap, which we've never had. I mean, we had Mateus already had a few waves in Snap 4. But like with this movie, we've got Mateus Hurd, he's got his own section. Iago Dora's got his own section, and then Victor Bernardo.
God.
So everyone that was saying, "Oh, you're anti-Brazilian surfing," like, no, then here you go.
Yeah, but here you go. Not just to like, I know you weren't trying to make a point of doing that. It's just because those guys.
No, and I never had the relationships with them. You know what I mean? Totally. And let's be honest, most of the Brazilian talent, their main focus is competition. Mm-hmm. That's not really about making free surf sections, you know. But that's what I was really drawn to with Mateus, was like he reached out. We'd talked in the past, and he was saying how important it was for him, aside from wanting to make the tour, he wanted to like put together a gnarly section, and he wanted like to kind of push the free surfing and that stuff more in Brazil,
which is sick. I mean, over the years, like there probably hasn't. Some of these guys are probably some of the first kind of more like free surfers that have started to make a career around it.
Yeah,
in Brazil,
right? Can you think of like, okay, look, like we've had.
So I was just trying to think about.
Yeah,
like,
they've really never had anyone that's not been competitive. That's
probably like Bruno Santos.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I guess for you know, and he was like just the barrel.
Guru.
The barrel
style, travel the world, get barreled. Then he had some pretty gnarly showings and comps.
Yeah, but he had gnarly showings and comps.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, they've never really had someone that just was like, I'm over contest. I'm just going to put out insane free surf stuff, you know?
Yeah. So it's sick that kind of providing that platform, extending the platform.
Yeah,
to
I mean,
help
and
them
look,
out.
I mean, like you got guys like Yago. Who knows? They might kill two birds with one stone. They
Yeah.
film the section and possibly win a title.
That'd
You
be
know,
pretty
I mean,
nuts.
he's number 2 right now. So
Damn, is he number 2 after Lowers?
yeah, and he's only like,
Shit.
I think he's only like 300 points, like behind Jordy.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, so,
And they're at Sakurama.
and they're at
And the
Sakurama.
finals that are left.
Yeah. I mean, and he's running hot right now. So, and his section's done. So I'm no longer bugging Yago. I don't
Dude, that's
bug them
pretty
during the
crazy.
contest, but it's definitely like working with the guys on the CT is extra challenging because for me, like I always want to respect what their goals and priorities are, and like let's keep it real. Like the Snap movies, it is what it is. But like these guys have worked their whole lives to like win a world title or to have success with a jersey on. I think having a section of movies like a bonus thing. But it's crazy because if you think about like 10, 15 years ago with like the Andys and, Wardos or Mick or Joel, all those, Taj, those guys were like going for world titles, or like in Andy's case or Mick's case, just like winning world titles and filming simultaneously. And not
That's
giving a fuck
crazy.
about being injured, like I know with like Yago and Jack and these guys, like they're very like methodical about the way they free surf now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're gonna risk getting injured to get a clip in Snap 5. And I don't blame.
Maybe part of it, some of the like the surfing too. I guess like because if you think about Andy and Mick and Joel, like those guys are just such good surfers on the face.
Yeah.
Not saying that those guys
No,
aren't
yeah,
now,
they're
but it's
not
like
doing shit into the flats
they
the way
weren't
that
doing
these guys.
backflips and shit into the flats. For like
100%.
Yago and Jack, it's like they're gonna go out and they see a huge section, like
Yeah,
oh they're so good at airs, they want to hit it.
100%. I mean,
So it's
right
a little
when
different, I guess.
totally different. That's a really good point. And I think too, those guys were just a different breed back then.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't enough to win a world title. They wanted to have the best section in like a Taylor Steele movie.
For sure.
So
Well, there was so much more. It seemed like maybe more emphasis on how important that was for so many years.
because I think too, I think a big factor is like that was pre-social media Instagram days.
Mm-hmm.
So the only way to really put out content on a solid platform would be like to have a 6 section in a Taylor Steele movie.
Totally. And when you were
Or-
like,
or
I was a
Kind of a
Grom
movie.
coming up at that point, the only place you could go to see that shit was the new Taylor Steele movie.
Yeah.
You didn't go on Instagram or YouTube and be like, oh, I can watch endless hours of all my favorite surfers. So we were just jonesing for that
For the movies to come out. Yeah, which
Oh
is
my God, like Bruce's section, Andy's section, Taylor Knox's, Dane's, and you
Everyone's-
would watch them a million times.
Yeah, it was so exciting. It was the only way you could really, froth out on surfing. And now it's kind of the opposite as far as like you've got like an overload of content. Like we can go on the phone right now and probably see what's happening
For sure.
30 minutes ago, who did what, and it's already on social media, which has its pros and its cons. Like for my scenario, obviously it's made making independent surf films nearly impossible now.
Yeah, it's like, how do you navigate? It's hard. And as a surfer, and I'm sure as a filmmaker, it's like, how do you make something that's still impactful and that you can get the backing that people are going to be like, oh, well, like, why can't I just, what's different about it? You know?
Yeah. I mean, getting guys, that's kind of been this fork in the road for me. And I've seen it progressing as far as like getting guys to save their best stuff is getting obviously harder and harder to the point where it's going to be soon. I feel like it's almost going to be impossible. For instance, like I said, it's like these guys, some of these guys, let's say Jack, Mason, Yago, I don't know, some of them, right? Noah Dean, these guys in the movie, even yourself, it's like you guys get paid by companies, and these companies now, I think they want your content as much as they want that sticker at the nose of your board or on your board.
Totally.
And they want social media posts.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, it's like, hey, why are we paying you all this money? And you're putting away your very best stuff for multiple years for Chucky's independent surf film. You know what I mean? Like it's almost getting to the point where eventually I feel like they're gonna start putting in the contracts like they want at least a certain amount of your best shit.
Yeah. Huh. I never even really thought about it like that.
Because now in your guys' contracts, right, you have to commit to a certain amount of social media.
Yeah.
For
a
them,
lot of, and a lot
right?
of them for sure.
And all that social media stuff consists of content.
Yeah. And then it's like
So
if you post a really good clip and it blows up,
Yeah,
it's
the demand,
good for you, it's good for them.
So the demand for video content just continues to like skyrocket. And then who doesn't want to see their clip on Stab or some of the the other media outlets? So it's like
Totally.
It's like a content frenzy right now. Where they say like content's king. That couldn't be more true than right now.
For sure. But then I feel like at the same time, it's been that way now for long enough, and everything sometimes feels so oversaturated that if you get an opportunity from someone like yourself that has like a group of surfers that you are kind of like hanging your hat on and saying like, hey, like I've been making films for X amount of years. It's my 5th one. If I'm going to back you to be in my film, like it does a lot for us. Yeah. Or for someone, like someone to help build their profile and like give them that credibility of like, hey, I'm like part of this, like I'm in the Snap movie. Like that's, so in a way, I feel like that's a completely different, it gives us a moment to like differentiate all the shit that we do that's just going into the pool of social media to be like, oh no, I'm part of the Snap film. And that has a lot of weight. Like, I guess before I got on the tour and Kai was making films, it was like, if I got in Lost Atlas or Dear Suburbia, it was like, like, holy shit, I just did my job for like 2 years.
Well, your stock just went up too.
Yeah.
Like that was another thing, I mean, you got to think about like Taylor Steele, like how many guys' careers did he escalate and elevate by having them in his movie? Like if you were in a Taylor Steele movie, you were getting a contract.
For sure.
Pretty much. You know what I mean? Like I think guys like Benji Weatherly or like a Greg Browning's on those guys' stock value after their sections came out in those Taylor Steele movies, they were like commodities that brands wanted in on.
Totally. And I feel like in the last few years, because there has been the last 5, like so few bigger surf films that have came out, like you've created that around like your crew and your platform. So, and like you always try to, seems like you cherry pick like my brother didn't have a sponsor and you're like, dude, I'm going to back Parker. Like fucking kid rips. Like how does he not have a sponsor? Like Mateus this year, like how does he not have a main sponsor?
That's kind of like one of the funniest stories because I didn't really know Parker at all.
Yeah, or Benji too.
Yeah, Benji. There's kind of a list. But like with Parker, it was funny because he had just got dropped by Volcom. And I got wind of it because down in Newport, it's my backyard, and you get wind of everything down there. And I was like, fuck, this kid's are so good to be unsponsored. So I reached out to him out of the blue. And at first, he thought I was fucking with him. Like it was like a prank call or something. And he literally said to me, and I think he was pretty down at the time. Yeah. Obviously. First time in his whole life that he's, doesn't have a major sponsor. And he said, like, why would you want me in your movie? I just got dropped. And I told him that's exactly why I want you in my fucking movie. Because you're too good to be unsponsored. And if you could just focus on this, I can't guarantee anything. Because remember, I'm making a comeback myself as far as like, I'm trying to resurrect Snap at the same time. But I've always tried to gravitate, like, in Snap 1, it was Asher Pacey. Mm-hmm. Asher was, at least here, for the most part, like even in Australia, he's unknown. But I thought, like, what if you take guys like that and you put them in a movie with like Andy and Taj and Bruce, all these guys, like obviously you're bringing a lot of diversity of like the most well-known names and then like introducing new names into it. So it's always been something I really gravitated towards doing. But that was what was really cool about Parker. And I remember he was like, I think I might just go to college. I might go to Europe and board caddy for my brother. And I'm like, no fucking way, dude. You're fucking too gnarly. Like, can you focus on on filming for this movie, and let's see what it does, And then your brother just went to fucking town. I mean, he made that section that I think people still talk about. Yeah, that was a sick part. I mean, with the Smashing Pumpkins song, and I think it was Smashing Pumpkins. Yeah. And then he made that part in like 4 months. Like he went from one trip, he went to Portugal with the Moniz brothers, he went to Tavarua, and I don't know, I can't remember off the top of my head where else he went, but he went on quite a few sick, like just Hawaii, like Rockies, and like some pipe stuff, and he made like he stacked clips. He went on like a clip bender, like, and then too, like I don't think a lot of people know this, but then he picked the song. And then actually Mason Ho and Joelani, they edited the part with Parker and I in the room.
Sick.
So it was such a team effort and stuff. But when that section came out, and you notice there's kind of a theme, right? As far as like, at least with 3 and 4, like I put Parker at the very beginning, because to me, you always have to start out a movie to draw the audience in. It's important to start strong and finish strong. I mean, you want to be strong all the way through, don't get me wrong, but it's really important at the beginning to lock everybody in. And Parker's surfing and the song and everything, I just thought, like, this is going to get people's attention and people are going to remember this. And like, I think they're going to take note, like, how the fuck is this kid surf this good and he's not sponsored? You know? And I felt like it did the damage. Like, it did that. And then, you know, I think Blair nailed him a sponsor, and he got other sponsors. And next thing you know, he got one of the last covers of Surfer Magazine. Yep. And I think it really, like, legitimized him as a free surfer who's going to produce content. Like, I think his days of going to go, you know, do the QS and that were over. I think Parker's never had a thought of, you know, chasing the QS thing ever since that project, ever since SNAPT 3. Yeah. I think it like locked him in to be a free surfer. And it's funny now, because to me, he's pretty household like name, especially for goofy footers. I have a lot of kids. Like, I remember after SNAPT 3, I had like Instagram and other kids come up to me and they're like, Parker Coffin's my new favorite goofy footer. Sick. You know? And so that felt really good. But then the same thing with SNAPT 4 was Benji. Yep. You know? And if you notice, we ran Benji at the first section. And I mean, to me, I thought that Benji section was probably one of the best Snap sections ever made. Between those clips and the song. Was it For Whom the Bell Tolls? Yeah. And I called Benji up after, you know, I'm like, hey, I got this song. And like, we got to fucking run it for you. Cause like Benji's shit is all pretty fucking like heavy. Totally. You know? And so like we knew his song months out. And that's why even when I was doing this shit with Salmon Boy, I asked him like, what about Benji Brand? You know? And that was the whole thing. Who the fuck is Benji Graham? Because it was kind of a way to like play into like Benji really wasn't getting the love that you know, his surfing deserved. Absolutely not. I mean, Benji got sponsored, you know. But I did the same thing. Not for Parker, because Parker had Blair, right? But for Benji, the whole time I was knocking on doors, trying to help find Benji a sponsor, and I reached out to CJ Hobgood, and eventually, you know, Parker told me that he actually like helped Benji write the email to the Salty Crew guys that like got him sponsored. Well, I got hit from a couple different angles, but he didn't know really. I mean, you know, that's why a lot of guys, they do need help. Totally. You know, and that was for me is cool because I'm not there to take a commission or ever. Benji gets sponsored. That means he's getting more support to go and film, you know. But I said to every brand, hey, whoever signs this, I'm going to try and go above and beyond and get you extra love on my platform. Sick. You know, because this guy deserves to be, you know, traveling the world surfing. Dude, he does. I feel like I want to see more of Benji surfing always. Yeah, and you know, people don't realize how hard he rips. I think just in smaller ways, just ripping surfing. Yeah, you guys are a weapon. And you know, another thing too is that he was kind of at a fork in the road too, where he was getting ready. If he didn't get sponsored soon, I think he was feeling pressure upon himself to like go and find a career outside of surfing. For sure. So like, I think Benji was a lot closer to like throwing in the towel to being a pro surfer than people realized like why that was going on. Yeah, I know. I saw it with my brother. Like just obviously there's all the things we talked about, but just with him too, just it kind of flipped a switch in like his confidence. I think to have that part come out and like have you backing him, and just all of a sudden it gave him like that motivation to like put the work in, and like, dude, he worked really hard. Yeah. And I think it's funny from the outside, and people, I mean, granted, when you're a professional surfer, a lot of people are like, yeah, cool, you're a pro surfer, like, sweet, when's that over, and when are you gonna get a real job? You know, like we've been getting that shit since we were like 14 years old. People are just like, oh my god, you say you're a pro surfer. But then when you tell people like it's easier when you're on the CT or something, like, oh yeah, I'm on the world tour, like best whatever 30 however many people it is now in the world. People are kind of like, oh, okay. So like you compete and you like get paid, you win prize money. But when you tell people you're like a pro free surfer, they're just like, huh? What does that even mean? They don't really know, comprehend. And then if they go and like, you know, go into detail and be like, no, I produce surf content as far as like I get free surfing clips. They're like free surfing. You know what I mean? Like
what is that?
Yeah, they don't even get it. I mean, I wouldn't blame them. I wouldn't get it either.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah, I guess they just don't, unless you know the industry and kind of know how it works. But
Yeah,
I guess I said that because Parker like really started working super hard at it and just like being super organized, like filming a ton, like getting people content, like working with CI, working with Monster, working with you, and like, you know, the value that creates, I think, just as when a company's like, oh yeah, like look at this kid, he's working hard, he's like putting out consistent content. Like if we need something, we know he's going to deliver.
Yeah, he's turned into, he was always a pro surfer, but when it comes to like the content side of things, like he's an ace.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's certain guys that like, you know, obviously Mason is a wizard with his content, creating it and whatnot, you know, and like Ian Crane or like a Noah Dean.
Mm-hmm.
These guys they've gotten really good at kind of understanding like today's game, because today's game's a lot different than even 5 years ago.
Totally.
You know, like when I started making Snap 3, like Mason didn't have a YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so the fact that you think about it now is like he's got one of the more successful YouTubes. And he still puts his best stuff away for the movie, and he keeps Lost stoked, and he does the rip curl trips, and I mean he's like, I think, pulled in a lot of different directions and seems to handle it, and all those directions are relatively content based, you know.
Totally.
And then I mean, even you look at someone that's not in Snap, like you know, Nate Florence. I mean, talk about like making a career out of producing content, and you know, channels, or like, you know, Jamie O'Brien.
Yeah.
I mean,
For sure.
So yeah, I mean, I just think the content game has changed so much. There's such a big demand. I think it's kind of almost like starting to even out, as far as forever it was just if you were on tour, you're on tour and you were one of the top dogs. But now you could be like as big of a name or bigger than some of the guys that are on tour.
Totally.
You know? So I think it all depends on your work ethic and how good you are at going on trips and getting lucky or unlucky, and what you're going to do with the content once you get it, you know,
For
and
sure.
how to piece it out the right way. And that's why I think Parker and some of these guys have gotten really good.
Totally.
You know, I don't think they need me anymore. They're like they're like seasoned vets now. So
Dude, I know. So is this the last one?
yeah, I think it's the last one, because like I said, I think I'm seeing. You always try to look ahead, right? And for me, I see like, well, from Snap 3, which was like 2016 till right now, it's almost been a decade of 3, 4, and 5. So almost for 10 years now, I've been having these guys put away their best stuff for me. And I think it's kind of run its course, where I think it's time for them to use their best stuff towards what they want to do with it. I mean, I know they want it to be in Snap, you know, but I think it's time, you know, obviously for them to not have that over their head and just see the way things happen. Because like I said, I have a feeling that the sponsors are going to want their best shit. I think they already have wanted their best stuff. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's just kind of ran its course. And another thing too, aside from, you know, who gets what with the content and all that stuff, it's like, I don't think people realize behind the scenes how much these Snap movies consume my life.
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, like it's cost me my marriage. I don't live with my, you know, I don't live with my ex or my kids anymore, because like I live, eat, breathe, and sleep the, you know, the Snap movies, making them, and surfing together. And you know, like for me, it's like these movies don't fall into my lap. Like I'm up late and up early, and I'm doing everything I can to go above and beyond to try to like make this stuff happen. And I feel like when the guys see the amount of work that I'm putting in, I think it motivates them to go above and beyond too.
For sure.
You know, but that consumes you. Just where for me right now, I feel like it's been a long run. It's been a good run. Snap's way bigger than I ever thought I could get it to be. You know, and so for me, I surf every day. I love surfing. That's why I make these movies. But you know, I think that with the surf industry and where it's at and everything, like I want to enjoy surfing for surfing, and I feel like the position that I'm in, like, you get caught up in a lot of the politics that are going on, and you hear stuff going on, you see stuff going on, and I don't agree with a lot of it. And I just don't want to be bitter towards surfing. And, you know, it's just, to be honest, like, I don't know. It's actually like the expectations on every movie seems to get bigger and more. that shit stresses me out.
For sure.
You know, because like,
it's so much work seeing you bring all this together. It's gnarly.
Yeah, and then everyone's like, "Fuck! Like, how many people are working with you, or how many people work for you?" And I'm like, "Fuck! I don't have one employee."
Yeah, two editors helping me put it all together.
I do all this on my own. Like, you know, granted, the guys film with their filmers. And then, so I work with the filmers, I work with the surfers, but then I run the social media, and then obviously like doing stuff like the world premiere and putting on the event. You know, I do every aspect, or meeting with 805 Beer to come on as a sponsor. Like, I do all the, you know, negotiating, deliverables, and everything by myself. So it's like, it consumes the fuck out of your life. You know what I mean? And I've been like focusing on who do we get to what trip, or who do we get to go get clips, or who needs what. But like, fuck, it'd feel probably pretty good to be like, fuck, that looks like a sick swell. I'm going to go, like, let's go on a surf trip and not have to worry about the content side of things. As, you know, one thing's about doing the Snap movies and stuff is like, I know I'm never going to become like a fucking multi-millionaire off of fucking making independent surf films, but it does open a lot of doors and opportunity, you know? So like, am I going to ride off into the sunset after Snap 5's done? Like, fuck no, you know, like there'll be more Snap related stuff. But as far as doing these like 2 to 3 year long projects where I'm getting my friends to like put away their best stuff, I don't see that happening again.
Yeah, what do you think? I mean, now that you've
built
a
I'm not signing a contract to anyone, right? So I could always change my mind down the line. You know what I mean? So the door's always open for me to come back.
Totally.
And everyone loves to come back.
Yeah.
I've done one before already. So
what do you like? Do you ever think about what you could do after? I mean, we haven't even really talked about it. I've talked to Parker about it a little bit, but like, since you've built a platform and like the Instagram,
I mean, I'm going to keep the Instagram thing still going, and I'm going to hopefully help try to promote guys that aren't getting the shine and attention that they deserve. And if I see guys out there that I feel like they could use some extra push, or they could use a platform like Snap to get out there, like, I'm going to use it hopefully for the better good. Because like, one good thing about it is it's, you know, it's just me. So I'm not really influenced by companies or brands saying like, no, we don't like that guy, don't put him on your thing. Or
totally.
No, hey,
like,
here's some extra coin, can you push this guy? It's always going to be like, fuck no.
Yeah.
You know?
That's what I feel like surfing, and maybe it's always been like that, but I was a little bit more naive when I was a kid, but didn't feel as much as now, whereas it's like everything's pay to play in the world. Like, so much of it, it's like, oh, well, so-and-so sponsored this, so we're going to do this series with them. It's like, I don't know, when we were kids, it just felt more like, okay, if you were ripping and you got some crazy photo, you got crazy clips, like they're going to end up where they kind of deserve to be. Yeah,
and I mean, I feel like, you know, sometimes you'll see a clip of like kind of an unknown guy on Stab. Sometimes they'll do that. I know I've really tried to go out of my way to do that. Yeah. If I seen a local get a gnarly clip, I really tried to like push that, you know, on the Snap 5 social, you know, Instagram. Meaning like, you don't have to technically be in the movie to get, you know, put on the Instagram. Like, I'm down to support whoever I think, like, if the clip's worthy, it's worthy. And sometimes I think it's badass to put an unknown or lesser known or local kind of, you know, heroes on the thing.
For sure.
But, you know, I think just the game's just constantly changing and evolving. And I already have a couple of projects that I've been actually working on the side while making Snap 5. So I already have some stuff that...
Can we get any teasers?
I mean...
Or is it all top secret shit?
I mean, honestly, some of it's like kind of breakthrough shit. I'll just say, like, I'm been working on a side project with Robbie Crawford. And that guy's like a fucking genius. Like, he's like... with all the technology and all this stuff, he's so far ahead of the curve as far as like what to do with the technology and how to like use it to kind of better the visual experience of watching surfing or watching anything, you know? So I'm working on some really rad shit with him.
Sick.
So yeah, I'm excited about that. I mean, a lot of it's actually almost done. We haven't had the time and focus to like start really like having that be the main priority right now, because I got to finish this fucking movie first.
Totally. Yeah.
You know?
I know that feeling.
Yeah.
So how'd you get into making Snap? Like, how'd you start?
Well, basically, I mean, I don't know. At 14, I started surfing, and I got a job at the Frog House, which is kind of the one, I guess, it's probably one of the more old school
surf shops around.
Right? It was Volcom's first ever account. And then I started, because I had just moved kind of into the River Jetties area. And,
so are you like born and raised? Like
I was
Newport,
born and raised in Newport, but
yeah.
I didn't start surfing until I was 14. Basically, my parents got divorced and we moved kind of, and you know, like sometimes when there's a divorce and it's ugly, like fucking the financial situation fucking changes, you know? So we kind of went from living in a really like pretty nice house, a nice part of town, to living in like a 2-bedroom, and there's like 6 of us, to like the not as nice part of town. Even though it's fucking still Newport, you know what I mean? It's not like fucking ghetto or anything, but it's like right next to like the old trailer park that's ripped down now, right by the Frog House. And I remember like just the surf thing seemed super hard to like feel comfortable in. And I kind of knew in my head, like, I don't know, maybe if I could hang out at this surf shop, maybe I you know what I mean? Like I would be able to learn more and feel more a part of something. I think that's kind of like why kids like kind of get into gangs and shit, or like a crew, to feel like a part of something. Who doesn't want to feel part of something, especially when they're kind of like in a broken home situation?
Yeah,
you know,
like
they
don't have that family.
They don't want to go home.
Yeah.
I don't want to, I didn't want to go home to
Totally.
fucking, here deal with the shit that was there. So like hanging out at a surf shop was killer. And plus you're like absorbing everything, and you're meeting people, and you're meeting all the locals that live around there, especially at that surf shop. And as a Grom, it's not all fun and games there, because that's where like Grom torture really went down, you know? Like on your birthday in there back in the day, as many years as like, if you turn 14, you're getting 14 fucking solid hits from each employee there, you know?
Solid.
Yeah. But so I started hanging out in there, and then next thing you know, I got a job in the summertime working in the parking lot, sweeping the parking lot, which is relatively pointless at a surf shop by the beach. You're sweeping sand, it doesn't even fucking move. It's more of like another
Comes back the next
it's another
day.
source of Grom torture, you know? But it's like they're making you pay your dues. And so I started working there working in the parking lot on the weekends, sweeping the parking lot, and then making sure nobody parked there to go surfing across the street. And that was my first job. And then at the same time, Richard Wolcott lived a couple houses away, and the Frog House was Volcom's first ever account.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's a plaque in there and stuff. Very first ever account.
That's sick.
And so they obviously, you know how the brands work, as far as like they always like to sponsor a shop Grom. So like luckily for me, I ended up being that shop Grom for Volcom, even though I could fucking barely stand up, you know? And but I had a mouth on me, and I was in the shop all the time and just hanging out there a lot, you know? So and then I think they like Troy Eckert and them were really smart at the time, because what they did is they like went to, I was in junior high at the time, and they went to that junior high. They pretty much sponsored like five kids. 4 of them could surf good and were worth sponsoring. I was the 5th kid and got sponsored just because I worked at the surf shop. I had nothing to do. I could barely stand up. I was just learning to surf. But they were pretty smart, knowing that in the next 2 years, these kids are going to be at high school.
Yeah.
And we're going to run this town
Just
that's
the
very
social scene.
influential, you know, as far as like if your brand's getting around in Newport, it usually like has been known to like cause traction, and like then in Huntington, and then, you know, outside of there, like, because that's with Quicksilver, you know, Bob Hurley and Billabong in the States, like a lot of it was Costa Mesa, Newport. So at that time, like I think Troy Eckert and like Richard Wolcott, they kind of knew that like they couldn't house the Groms at their places, because those guys were fucking raging, you know? And I think even like probably even like your parents, when they sponsored Parker, like they knew like my son's got to stay somewhere else.
I don't know if they really knew, but
yeah. So
they maybe never would have let it happen.
They kind of figured out really like that I lived at this house across the street from the beach, and because at the time the divorce got settled and we got into a nicer house that was closer to the beach, and basically those guys had kind of figured out like, oh, we can just put them at Logan's house.
No way. And
so they started having their team riders that would come into town stay with me, and that's when I started meeting like some of the best talent in my age group in the country, you know, whether it was like you know, I was like the Hobgoods, even though they didn't ride for Volcom, everyone started just coming and hanging at the house, you know. So I was like next thing you know, there's, you know, like had like Dustin Barkas and Danny Fullers, you know, and the Irons and the Hobgoods and like all these guys.
That's crazy.
Were coming to either stay at the house or hang at the house, because my dad was a single dad, so and he's off working. And there's no parental guidance, and I had 4 sisters, which meant that's a lot of. If each of my sisters had a few friends over, that was a house full of like good-looking girls, all right, you know, either older us and a little younger than us, but like you're surrounded with no parental guidance, right by the beach, and a ton of chicks, you know. So it was like the perfect it was like the perfect setup to like, even if you came to Newport and you weren't staying at my house, you were probably coming over to hang out to try to like pull one of my sister's friends, or you know what I mean. Yeah. And it just became kind of this party pad that like. You could surf river jetties out front and come and hang and try to swoop some chick, or you know what I mean. It was awesome. And then it just kind of got more to where then eventually like guys from Australia were coming over, and you know I was meeting so many people, and eventually I graduated high school. And actually it's funny because during that time when those guys would come, like, you know, specifically you remember multiple times, and like I know people that'll hear this or watch this remember that, but like I remember taking like Andy and Bruce and those guys to Newport Harbor High for lunchtime just to walk around and check out all the chicks multiple times. So good. You know, like on the first day of school, like junior year or senior year, like Jason Bogle and Rory Parker, like they put backpacks on and they came to school with me, because you know the first day of school the teachers don't know who's who. Mm-hmm. So eventually, like in the room, when they're yelling out like John Smith, and no one's, and then eventually like Bogle or one of those guys like John, you know, and like they came to every class with me. But they would come at home because Newport Harbor's an open campus at the time. So like you just go there, they check out all the chicks, and then after lunch was over, we'd bail.
Go back to the pad. Or a lot of times, like I would come home from school and like literally like someone like Andy would be just hanging in the living room, or other surfers, because we'd leave the door the door was never locked. It was open for any of the boys. Sick. That's so cool. That's kind of basically how I got that original Rolodex of like a lot of the up and coming, you know, next. The guys are gonna, you know, be the next, you know, big thing. A lot of them, and then when I after I graduated, I told my dad and everyone I was coming up to Santa Barbara City College to go to college here, but I never went to college. I just surfed all the point breaks, and then around March time, I fucking did the drive of shame home, and then told my dad like, hey, I haven't been going to college. I just was like learning how to try to surf point breaks. You know, it was like point break 101 course. You know? And I was like, and then he's like, I don't give a fuck what you do. You just get a fucking job, you know? And so I got a job within like a week or two of working for that surf brand, SMP. And they were Australian owned at the time. Originally, there was like the Milo and them, and you know, San Diego started the company, but they've been bought by an Australian, and in Australia they were doing really good. So right when I got hired, they put me on a plane and they said, hey, we're going to send you to Australia. There's all the QSs over there. It's like Newcastle on the Gold Coast, and they sent me on a plane there, and they said like, hey, there's this guy Shane Moran who's the team manager. You're just going to basically like shadow him and learn from him. Well, I get there. He doesn't even pick us up from the airport. He's like at a strip club. Shit, right?
And then I meet all the Australian SMP team riders. Now, these guys are, listen to some of these guys. I was talking to someone about this yesterday, about the guys on the team. Sam McIntosh was one of them. One of the founders of STAB, right? Andy King, who's Gabriel Medina's coach, right? It was like, I met Asher Pacey.
Really?
There was like a whole list of like guys either that ended up, you know, doing something. But anyways, they had a huge team. And then at the same time, I met Taj because he was hanging out with these guys, because the team manager was he was the raddest team manager, as far as like he was taking the whole team to the strip clubs or the bars or whatever. He's a maniac. And it was at Newcastle. I met all those guys. And that was the first time I seen Asher Pacey surfing. I was like, who the fuck is this kid? And then I remember it was the first time I saw Mick Fanning surf. And I instantly thought, like, this dude is going to be a fucking problem for Andy. And this guy is going to fucking bang with Andy for sure. Like, I never seen someone that quick.
Yeah.
You know? And it was that good. And they ended up having a heat in the quarters. And he beat Andy. And it was not only did he beat Andy, but, like, he was being aggressive with him. You know? And I was like, whoa, he's not afraid to fucking, like... He's not intimidated with, I will never forget watching the heat, because I wanted to see them surf against each other, you know? And so and then I met Taj, and then there was Joel, and, you know, I met like all that whole age group of Australians on that trip. Well, fast forward like a year later, and 9/11 hits, and at that point, I was out of a job, and I was thinking, like, fuck, what do I do? Thinking, well, fuck all these guys I know, between like the Hobgoods and the Irons and you know, like lesser known, but like guys like Aaron Cormican and everything, and then the Asher Paceys and Taj and Mick and all these guys, like, fuck, I could try to like jump on the Taylor Steele kind of blueprint and like make a surf film with my friends, because I knew where a lot of them were, and had access to go on those trips or whatever, tag along, or at least be there and whatever. So that was how it came out. And I basically like bought like a $1,500, $2,000 like used GL1, which is like the old Canon cameras they used to make, like porn back in the day, but they were good cameras for what they were. And I didn't even have anyone give me like there was no YouTube tutorials or nothing.
How to use the thing?
It was like autofocus, on, off, record, don't record. And if you watch Snap 1, when most of his filming is like, dude, I was the worst filmer of all fucking time. As far as like the horizon's fucking completely off. It's going in and out of focus. It's shaky as fuck. But the guys surfing were surfing so good, like Andy and them, you know, it didn't even fucking matter, you know, and it almost made it good. So it's funny, even now today when I get footage, like for instance, like Mateus heard he was just like on a trip and you know, right now he's without a sponsor. He doesn't have access to fucking like super high end, you know, filmers with really good equipment. And my thing every time is like, dude, it's all good. Have you seen my footage from Snap 1 or 2?
Yeah.
It's fine. This is way better.
That's sick.
This is way better. So like, it's also been good because like I've never kind of held this thing where like it's got to be this crazy cinema, you know, like real high end quality. I don't mind the high end quality, but at the same time, I actually love some of the raw shaky shit too, because it's raw, you know. So it's kind of left like a safeguard that, well, we can run whatever the fuck we want.
Totally.
I can run whatever the fuck I want in Snap.
Yeah.
You know, I like an iPhone clip if it's filmed the right way, you know?
Not vertical.
Yeah, but I mean, and now there's so much good software and stuff too. You can take a fucking pretty bad clip, you can stabilize it, you can run it through a software, and you can turn it into 4K.
So crazy.
I can take all the footage now from Snap 1 and 2, and I can turn both those movies and re-release them in 4K.
Really?
Yeah.
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 That's so wild. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I might have to do that later on, but yeah, you can do that now.
Nuts.
Yeah, so
you just
you
went
got way
for it.
more wiggle room now.
Yeah, totally.
You know, like you couldn't do that with my clips back in the day.
Yeah.
They're just fucking blown.
So classic.
But that's how it all got started, you know. But another thing too is when I was making those movies, it was like Taylor Steele was fucking in his prime. Matty Jai was making fucking those insane movies, whether it was like, you know, the movies with Taj, the Montage, Sabotage, all that stuff, or the 3 Degrees.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that movie, Matty Giant, Shagga. Like, I think they won like movie of the year at Surferpole twice. Like, it was Matty Giant and Taylor Steele. Kind of, there's a point where they were kind of like the two guys, and then you still, you know, had Jack McCoy, and like I think he was just doing like Blue Horizon when I was making Snap 2.
Yeah.
And, you know, Josh Palmer was making his movies. And then let's not forget, like, Mike Riola was making the Sickest Lost movies. And then Troy Eckert and Richard Wolcott were making the Sick Volca movies.
Damn.
Like, surf movies at that point were just, I think we're in its prime, you know? So Snapped, being a young kid, barely know how to film or any of that shit, like, it was really, I think it was way more like underground. It really was like indie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was really independent, and it was really like fucking home cooking as far as compared to like, you know,
totally.
Jack McCoy shit when it was 16 mil and he was so professional.
Did you have sponsors like
help
and get you around and stuff, or were you just
I mean,
doing
that
it
was
on
one
your
thing.
own?
I still got lucky. Like, I always try to fish in different ponds, you know, because like if I'm gonna fish, I'm gonna try and get endorsement deal, you know, support where Taylor Steele shopping or where, you know, like a Jack McCoy or there's no chance. Why the fuck would you want to spend money on a kid that doesn't even know how to fucking film? You know, but so I would just find sponsors in other places, and like I remember during Snap 1, I ended up getting a company called Vitamin Water that just got bought by Glacial.
Crazy.
And then the funny thing is like Andy and all those guys were psyched on vitamin water. Everybody was psyched on vitamin. So I was having crates of vitamin water delivered to the Red Bull house, and if you watch Snap 1 or 2, like you can see clips of Andy drinking drinking vitamin water inside the Red Bull house.
No way.
Yeah. And actually, do you remember the photo it's a really iconic photo where Kelly walks in to the room? It's a Steve Sherman photo.
Yeah, of course.
And it trips out Andy because Kelly's walking to his
Yeah,
house.
it's like the day they're like about to bang for the world title.
Yeah. And you look on the table right there, and there's a fucking vitamin water right there, and Andy's drinking. And you think how stoked those guys were. Not to mention it's inside the Red Bull house. Like, how do you infiltrate a beverage into the Red Bull house? You know what I mean? Like, obviously there should have been a Red Bull on that counter next to Andy, but instead there was a vitamin water.
It's crazy.
And so like obviously those guys were pretty happy with.
What year was that? What year was Snapped 1?
It was dropped in like 2002.
Okay.
And that's what I think that was Snapped. That was Snap 2. So I think that was 2003 when they had their gnarly battle.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know. I was pretty young for that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've always gotten lucky. And then with Snap 4 or Snap 3, I had this company called Space Jam. It was like a nicotine fucking company that was sold in 7-Eleven. And when I met with them, they wrote me a check in the meeting.
No way.
You know, that I covered the movie.
Crazy.
And then with Snap 4, I had the Fuser was the video game. It was NC Soft is the video game company. Mm-hmm. They're the creators of Guitar Hero.
No way.
Like $1 billion company. And they were looking for an activation, a party. They wanted actually like a party during the US Open to launch their video game. They weren't technically looking for a surf movie, but a buddy of mine that's helped me with a lot of stuff, like he presented it to them for like, hey, we'll get you a 2-for-1 right now. And that was like a day or two before like COVID hit and like shut the world down.
Oh way.
Yeah. Luckily locked that in, and we had to change some of the deliverables. But yeah, that NC Soft user game that was the presenting sponsor for Snap 4 that like saved the fucking day.
Crazy. That's sick.
Yeah, it was the biggest check like endorsement I got for surfing out this whole time.
No way.
Yeah.
God.
So
who we got this year?
Mace.
Monster.
Oh yeah, Monster.
Bear Flag 805. Black Bear. Sunbum. Change for Balance. What's that one? Costa Concentrates.
Yeah.
World Safaris.
Yep, that's Sean Walker's
travel.
Yeah. You know Sean Walker's travel agency?
Hell yeah.
Fuck, we put him through the ringer. Being the travel agent for Snap 5 is
and we got Mace on the cover.
no easy task.
Is Mace the mascot?
No, Mace is the quarterback.
Salmon
Boy is the mascot.
That's so sick. Was this after he got hurt and then he came back all fired up?
No, that was, I think that was the day he got hurt.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's obviously look at the look on his face. I mean, he's feeling it.
Dude, it's so sick.
Yeah, it's hard to pick the cover, but I don't know with this one. Like for instance, like from your guys' trip to Cloudbreak, Benji has obviously a couple frames where like, you know, you can fit a truck inside the barrel.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously I think it's pretty standard. Like you run like the crazy action shot, but this, I don't know, to me, like with Mason and his tongue and the look in his face, and
dude, totally,
and kind of embodies Snapped as far as like, fuck, I think it's just got a lot of flavor, and I mean, he looks pretty snapped out himself right then.
He almost doesn't even look like Mason right there. He looks like possessed.
No, it looks like Ozzy Osbourne on acid, you know? Just I was kind of joking, like, oh yeah, Mace, we're gonna put a piece of paper on your tongue right there. It just looks like you're fucking just demonic.
Or a bat head.
Yeah, but no, we were laughing, but I kind of knew right then, like, fuck, I don't know. I think that thing kind of just speaks for itself.
Yeah, that's so cool.
That to me, that's my favorite cover so far.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
It'd be cool. It'd be sick to get it. You got to get them all lined up next to each other. I saw them out at the house the other day. But.
Yeah, we actually there's like a big 2 foot by 3 foot one. They're done, but I just haven't had time to pick them up yet.
Really?
Yeah. But I'm psyched to get it.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's kind of the rundown. But yeah, it's been a fucking wild ride. I mean, I almost canceled this movie like at least 3 times.
Really?
Yeah.
No way. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you didn't.
I'm glad I
made it through.
I'm glad I didn't either. Yeah. Each movie's had its own challenge. Like the Snap 3 was me, like I said, trying to convince everybody I still can make a movie. I knew what I was doing, even though everything had changed. Coming back again after 15 years to do anything's, you know.
Totally.
You're gonna definitely have a lot of doubters. And then Snap 4 was COVID.
That throws a wrench in everything.
And that throws a wrench in everything. And that actually made it almost easier looking back because everyone kind of schedules froze. Mm-hmm. So everybody was just like, they were there for the taking as far as everyone was available to film for the movie. No one had contest schedules. Like, you know, Jack Robinson's sitting in WA for the first time in years with no schedule. And there's nothing to do except for surf during the best kind of window they have all year there.
Totally.
You know? So, like, we were able to keep kind of pushing forward when I think everyone kind of decided to kind of, like, shut down a bit. Mm-hmm. I mean, the only one else that really, I think, did anything in that time was Kalohe with the Reckless Isolation. Yep. Which was gnarly for him to fucking pull the trigger and, like, roll the dice on going over to the Ments. Yeah, that was Remember, nice. And I heard rumors about them getting the visa and doing all that, and I said, dude, if those guys get through, we'll fucking be right behind them. Totally. But I'm not taking the chance, I guess. Yeah. So I kind of gave him a lot of credit for being able to, like, pull that off.
For sure.
You know? I mean, that'll never happen again. As far as, like, that never was the best never. Ments. You never know. No, but I mean, to have the Ments, that type of swell with those conditions and everything, and not a soul in sight.
Yeah. It's fucked up.
Yeah, it was crazy. So, but yeah, during making a movie during COVID was interesting, you know?
Yeah.
And then this one, there's just been a lot of, like, personal shit. I've had, like, you know, my mom was dying throughout the whole making of the movie. I was trying to take care of her. It's like basically it was like 18 months. So half the time making the movie, I'm basically watching my mom die slowly and trying to take care of all her stuff.
So nice.
My sister had died. It's just been all kinds of shit that's gone on where I'm like, fuck, how can I focus on making a movie right now when I'm trying to take care of someone dying? But then I also thought too, like, fuck, this is actually what I need to be doing. I can't just focus on the down, like the negative side of stuff. Like, I need something to like focus on that's going to obviously like take my mind off of some of the heavier shit that's going on.
Yeah, and like kind of give you that creative outlet still to kind of keep
exactly. So yeah, at one point I was like I called Mason, I called the boys, I was like, Parker, I told him, fuck, there's no chance I can make a movie right now. I'm not in this headspace. Yeah. And then, you know, I don't know, 2-3 months in, I was like, no, fuck that. We got to do this.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, during the movie, you had the whole deal with down in Newport, like the thieves freaking jacking
the
you?
hackers. Yeah, that was another one. So,
But yeah,
so
you had a couple.
well, no, it was basically. So, like I said, when my mom was dying slowly of Parkinson's and dementia, and 2 days after she passed away, I was going to the crematorium, or the where you have the set up the funeral plans and all that stuff, and I thought, like, hey, I'm gonna stop off at River Jetties and surf real quick before I go to deal with this, because it been a pretty like emotional roller coaster, and it was finally over as far as like, okay, she's no longer in pain, she's gone, and I'm thinking at that point I'm gonna find closure and get this done. And so I stop off to surf for 20 minutes, and I go surf, hide my keys this side of the River Jetties pad, and then 20 minutes surf in trunks because it's summertime, come back in, and I notice my keys are gone. And at that point I kind of knew right then, fuck, this isn't good, like someone got my keys. And then I get in my car, and and I'm locked out. But I knew the car, but I thought, well, they got my wallet. Usually they don't want to take a phone because the phone shows where it's at. Mm-hmm. It's like a GPS. Why would you want to steal someone's phone, Anyways, at the same time, a buddy of mine, Dustin Hine, pulled up, and I instantly was like, I need your fucking car. Let me use your car while you surf real quick. I'm going to go up and grab my spare. My car, I just got my shit stolen for sure. So he let me use his car. I ran up, I grabbed the spare, I came back, I opened the car, and there's only two things missing, my phone and my wallet. And at that point, I'm like heading home, and I grab my daughter's phone, and I text my phone just to see if I can get a response. And I do. And the guy, and whoever's on the other, whoever stole my shit's like, hey, sorry, I'm a drug addict. I stole your shit. I'm trying to get into rehab. I just need $1,000 to get into rehab, or whatever his story is. Meet me at the Jack in the Box on this street at this time with $1,000 cash, and I'll give you all your shit back. So then I said, fuck, no problem. And at the same time, I started making calls to get the surveillance, because there's surveillance all over the house, facing the street and everything. So at the same time, I was able to get the surveillance right away. And I had like 3 different angles of the guy. And he was fucking pretty solid looking, scary looking dude. So at that point, then he says, hey, scratch Jack in the Box. Meet me at the Dairy Queen. You know the Dairy Queen in Huntington?
Yeah.
It's been there forever.
Yeah.
Meet me there at 1 o'clock. So
in
then
the morning,
it's like
or at
push back, not night, in the day. This is 10, 11. And mind you, like, I'm supposed to be at the like crematorium place, setting up the funeral, and I'm no showing because I don't have my wallet anymore, so I can't pay for it. And B, I didn't have a phone to call up until I'm on the phone trying to handle shit with apparently whoever has my phone. And then he says, like, meet me at Dairy Queen. Long story short is, I call up a buddy. I call up Pat Tenori, because they have he has the gym, the UFC gym, and they always fucking have some pretty, like, heavy guys in their training. And I'm like, because I'm pretty scared to go meet up with this guy by myself.
Sure.
So, like, he's like, dude, no problem. Fucking, he's like, I'm gonna send fucking a couple guys there, and they'll just be hanging at a table, making sure you're safe and shit, And then Mike, I feel like this is really stupid. Like, like I should probably just go to the police. But I just want my phone so bad because it's got everything from that I made, the Snap 3, 4, 5. It's got all the behind the scenes. It's got all the memories of my kids. It's got my online banking. It's got fucking everything on there, And so I really want my fucking phone back. And so I go, and I can see the guy. I can see all like the MMA guys at the table.
Oh way.
And I can't say for sure, but I'm pretty sure those guys are all strapped up, And I'm just like, well, this is fucking extreme. And then the guy's like, I'll be there in a minute. And then he's like, no, something's off here. I don't feel, whatever. And then I'm thinking, damn, this guy just bought at least 2 or 3 hours to do something. you know? So I fucking beeline to the bank, and I get to the bank, and right when I sit down, I can see that all this money's been moved around or taken out. And at first it started out to where I think right then it was 120 grand was fucking missing. So then I'm fucking thinking, like, what the fuck do I do? You know, and I remember my mom just died 48 hours before that.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was kind of just looked up. I felt so defeated between everything that I was like, okay, I got surveillance of this guy. And between SNAPT's Instagram and having the resources and contacts to like stab and those guys, like, I'm going to fucking put this guy on blast and put this out there, you know? So I made a video, I posted it, and within like a few minutes, dude, people started commenting, people started spreading it. And then within a few hours, like, we started getting leads. And everyone like in the local community like stepped up and was spreading it around. Stab did an article really fast after the thing and got it out there. And then this officer from the Costa Mesa Police Department said, like, I know who that is. I arrested him back in March.
No way.
And then I had a buddy who was a sheriff, and he reached out to me and he said, like, send me the photo. I'll run in my facial recognition. So before the night was over, like, we already had tons of fucking leads. So the next day when I went to the police office, and by the time they like assigned a detective to the case, and it was Detective Kyle Bean, a kid I went to high school with, randomly getting the case. So it kind of worked out even better because he was like a family friend, and he'd surfed back in the day and worked at the Frog House, and or at least spent time there and stuff. So like I think he had an extra incentive to like bust these guys. He said, "Oh, dude, these guys have been doing this for years." And then all of a sudden it's like, "Oh, that's the Bentley crew. They were the ones fucking robbing everybody in Topanga and in Malibu and all the spots up in LA." And then eventually the LA surf scene was on them, and they came down to Orange County, mainly Newport and Huntington. And by the time the detective got the case, I'd already had like multiple leads to hand off to him. I put him in touch with the officer at the Costa Mesa Police Department that arrested the guy, and then I also had the facial recognition from the sheriff. I put them all in touch with each other, and just kind of was like, here, fucking, like, I did enough kind of detective work on my own. And then during the thing, the crazy part was, and it still kind of lingers over me, but like I had a few people reach out to me and they told me like, hey, you should take this shit down. It's not worth it because like this is probably some like cartel.
Yeah.
Or someone you don't want to fuck with.
Yeah.
You know? So like it's like you're putting everybody that's getting involved in harm's way.
High risk.
And it's not worth it. And at that point I was at such a low and shit. I'm like, I don't give a fuck who it is. Like I fucking just, I want fucking like payback, dude. I want revenge, you know? So it ended up being like a 5-month process, like fought tooth and nail with the bank to get my money back. They actually denied giving my money back first. Oh, wow. And then I disputed it. And then I gave them an overload of ammo to like win the case to get my money back. And long story short is because that's the thing. It ended up being this like super high end sophisticated hacker. And he was like capable of doing shit. Apparently like the FBI has to hire a third party in order to get into your phone the way this guy is and get into everything. Crazy. Yeah. I mean, it's not just like facial recognition or knowing an ID. Like every one of my apps, banks, you know,
double authentication.
It all has different usernames and passwords. Yeah. None of it's just facial recognition. The guy's able to get into everything. And it was like the overload of surfers that were coming forward saying the same thing happened to me. You know, Instagram, he got fucking smoked. They hijacked all his crypto. Like you can't get crypto back once you trade it out of a portfolio to a different one. I mean, they literally could just, if all your savings were accessible on your online banking, they could wipe you out that day. God. You know, the detective from American Express hit me up and said that the day that they got me, They got 3 other surfers, 4 surfers total, including me, and they got $250,000 that day. That's just through Amex. Remember, 80% of the money they took from me was from my bank account. It wasn't from Amex.
Wow.
But anyway, and it ended up being this like super crazy, sophisticated, just fucking hack guru. That
Crazy,
was
dude.
again, the guy was capable of doing shit that the FBI fucking can't do.
That's nuts.
And eventually, we had the surveillance and the ammo, and they were able to put it all together. And after 5 months, a neighbor ended up putting up his own, because they kept hitting the same fucking street after all this. And a neighbor put a bunch of surveillance cameras up and got them red-handed, and they got the license plates and all this stuff. And long story short, they rolled the whole like crew. But it was just one hacker like this.
And then some like,
And then he just would pay these good dudes like just to do the grunt
just to
work
go
of
grab the phone.
go steal the phone and the wallet.
yeah.
You know, but it was a very like methodical, like they had their blueprint of how to do it, and their whole thing was robbing surfers, because surfers hide their keys,
Yeah.
and then they're out in the water for at least, like myself, 20 minutes
So they know, it's not 5 minutes.
to a couple hours, you know, and then by the time they come back in, they're locked out. I would have been locked out even longer if my friend hadn't pulled up and let me use his car to go get my spare, you know. So
That's so gnarly.
so yeah, eventually they caught the guys, and I got my money back. And then it ended up being kind of this big thing, because once they realized who the hacker was and like what he had been doing, what he was capable of doing, it became a bigger deal. And then Anderson Cooper and the CNN, they reached out and were like, hey, we want to cover this shit. And I was like, yeah, right. Like, why would you guys want to cover it? Like, oh, we think this story is crazy.
Yeah.
You know? And there's been other like calls about people wanting to do some type of like series and shit on this stuff, because it's almost like Point Break but reverse. You know, like instead of the surfers doing the robbing, it's like all the surfers were getting fucking hosed and robbed, and majority of the surfers, like a lot of them didn't get their money back.
Damn.
But like with me, they got. I mean, it was lucky or unlucky as far as like it was just wrong person at the wrong time. I'm sure if I wasn't dealing with the shit with my mom and stress of making the movie and all that, I wouldn't have had the like fuck you, like fuck the I don't give a fuck attitude.
Yeah.
But because I was at such a low, I really didn't care if it was. I should have cared that it could have been a cartel or some shit. You know what I mean? I should have been smarter. But that's the reason I was like, fuck this. I'm gonna try and do whatever I can to fucking catch whoever this is. But luckily, it was a white collar criminal.
Yeah.
It wasn't, you know.
So nuts.
And so yeah, it was pretty crazy. But even now, when I'm home or like when I go home and stuff, like, and I hear noises and shit, I still think about like, fuck, is these guys coming to?
Are they coming after me?
Are they coming for payback? You know, but it's like a white collar fucking criminal, and the detectives and everybody had told me like, no, this guy's not. He's not a violent offender. He's a fucking like genius. Like fucking, what he's capable of doing is. Like we still can't comprehend how he's able to get into people's phones and shit like that. So that obviously was another fucking like hurdle to work through and deal with. At the same time, I'm trying to make this movie. Yeah, you know. So
jeez, that's crazy.
There's been all kinds of stuff, but
thanks for getting that guy off the streets.
Yeah, I mean, I think people worry a little bit less. But I have so many surfers come up to me and tell me like, "Oh, that was badass." That was this. I was like, "I don't know, badass." It might have been really stupid of me, to be honest, but I mean, I think I got lucky that, you know, the guy wasn't part of something, you know, something else, and they'd been looking to like get him for a while. They just didn't have the ammo, you know.
That's a nuts story,
But
dude.
it's pretty wild, like
Crazy.
At the same time, you know, like I don't know, some terrible surf filmmaker fucking catches this fucking like super sophisticated
serial hacker,
fucking, like just like I was just a Jedi master hacker, and they say like, dude, the FBI would have to give a phone off to a third party, and it'd take them weeks to do. This guy could get in your phone in like 10 minutes, everything in your phone.
Jeez, dude.
Yeah, so I mean. Really? He wiped me out, and then we got him back. You know, so yeah, it's just been all kinds of shit like that. You know, there's so much more. Obviously, stuff I wouldn't talk about, whatever. But there's been a lot of challenges throughout making this movie. But I guess you know that stuff when you hit the finish line, be more rewarding. You know, to know that
It will
like
be.
you kind of persevered through this, faced the adversity, could have threw in the towel and quit, but instead you just kept punching forward. So
Oh yeah, good work, Chucky.
thanks, buddy.
Dude, that's so gnarly, dude. I didn't know how nuts that story was.
Yeah, well, that's like the fucking like
The bridge version.
that's like the PG-13 version, dude. Really? Yeah. Hopefully, it reflects inside the movie, you know, and people can see like, well, there was a lot of hard work and sacrifice that went into making this.
Yeah.
You know, and at least for me, I can walk away knowing like, fuck, I gave it everything I had to try to bring this one to life.
Seems like you went for it, Chucky.
Yeah, because just alone keeping the clips off social media is fucking so hard these days.
Dude, for sure. Like when we went to Fiji and Tim Benayathan wanted like $1,500 a clip when he like showed up there with.
Yeah, I mean,
We're like,
look,
dude,
I
we
mean,
just
it's
pay for
nothing
our
like to
filmer
each
and
their
stuff.
own, right?
Yeah.
But like, for instance, I don't know, it's like for us to go there and for the movie and then have some other filmmaker come and just film you guys and then, you know, just shit's gotten really weird.
Totally, yeah.
You know, and it's not. I'm not taking a stab at Tim. He's been in
No,
the game for years.
yeah.
He's a seasoned vet. He's there to make money.
But it's like
and-
those are all the things when you're making a film that you don't want the stuff. It's like you have to like have those conversations. Like we had to be like, Tim, dude, like please come on. And then he was cool. But it's
yeah,
like,
exactly. It all worked out. But I mean, that shit. I mean, there's so much shit that happens behind the scenes on these trips.
yeah,
You know, in that same situation, but like people have no clue. And then I'm sitting there and I'm trying to pick and choose how I want to approach the situation. Like, do I want to fucking like cause some serious conflict and like have at it with another filmmaker, you know what I mean? Or do I take the high road and try to find peace with them and try to massage the thing and work a deal out, you know? Because, I mean, look, at times tensions run high. And when you're the one that's spending the money and the time to organize everything,
yeah,
and someone else shows up and films your stuff, like, you know, what you've put the money and time to making happen, like, how can you not kind of get fucking heated in some way?
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, it's happened often. You know what I mean? A lot of stuff I'm not going to talk about because just out of respect and not throw more fuel on the fire. But dude, I've been pissed at times throughout the making of this movie because I know that some of these other guys, if the situations were flipped,
Reversed, yeah.
I know for a fact they would be fucking pissed.
Totally.
You know? But and a lot of the times you gotta pick and choose your battles and can't stay focused on the problem. It's more focused on the solution.
Yeah, finding a
Because
solution.
that's gonna
moving
get
forward.
me closer to the finish line than like getting in some fallout or beef with another fucking filmmaker and stuff.
Totally.
I got too many fires to put out to focus on one.
Hell yeah. Well, thanks, Logan, dude. It's been good to just catch up and so stoked to be a part of the film. Thanks for
Yeah,
having
thanks.
me.
I'm excited. I mean, I'm pumped. You know, I think that's why this roster, I think too, is by far the most diverse roster that we've had. You know, like it's everybody's bringing something different to the table.
For sure.
You know, so I know you're not like the big air guy, but that's exactly like why I knew you were gonna bring like your gnarly rail work and all that stuff into the movie. And like I think, you know, there's you and there's like Taro and there's Victor Bernardo and some of these guys that like obviously you guys are savages on rail, and I really wanted to like have that in this movie. And man, don't worry, everyone's gonna see plenty of fucking air reverses and plenty of airs. I got those guys too. But that's where it all I think is gonna, you know, I think it's gonna what I'm after seeing the movie, like seeing the 20 sections, it's like this is a fucking hour all you can eat buffet. You know,
Yeah.
of every kind of food. As far as if you like seafood, you know, like if you like Italian, if whatever you want. I'm pretty sure you want big barrels, like they're in there. You like big airs, they're in there. You want rail work, it's in there.
That's
You
cool.
know?
It seems like you really allowed everyone to like lean into their strength. It's not like, oh no, you have to be able to have a crazy air in your part. It's like, oh, if you don't want one air in your part, like sick, bring me like your
well, you know, it's
best.
funny. It's like I wanted certain guys that don't do airs.
Yeah, totally.
You know, like I wanted guys that intentionally, because I didn't have to worry about like please don't send me 10 fucking error verses.
Well, and it's just funny. Like, I mean, I've had clips in films that were errors, but it's like in today's day and age, it's like I know what's going to be in that film. Like if I go out and do like a good error verse, it's like, oh, sick. Like there's 10 that are way gnarlier in the next part or whatever, you know? So it's like, I'd rather focus on the surfing that I love to do and like bring the best of that and like mix it with all the other guys that are doing their best of their surfing, you know?
Well, and that's what I told guys too about like getting about the barrels. I've been telling guys the whole time, like, don't worry, like Benji Brand or Clay Marzo or Mason or Jack, like that, like we got barrels covered.
Yeah.
Focus on your strengths. Don't worry about, you know, that part. Just go out and do your thing. Cause I mean, I think too, some guys get almost like clip block, like when they think too much about what they're filming for and what they want to get. I think it kind of like almost can hinder their performance, like kind of almost sometimes like competing in a jersey.
Totally.
There's that additional pressure where some guys excel with the pressure and some guys surf even better with the jersey on. But I think some guys, when they know they're filming for a project, it can fuck with them, you know? So, I mean, I think it's been pretty interesting to see the way it's played out for each guy, you know? But I think, we'll see. I don't know. It's hard for me to talk about how good or bad the movie is, but like I'm feeling really good about it at this point. And you know, once it's pieced together, picking the order and whatnot, then we'll see. But you know, it's always in the critics' hands and the fans. But as long as I walk away knowing I gave it my best, that's really all that matters.
I think you did that. Hats off to you.
But I will say, I think the fucking soundtrack could be the best one.
Sick.
Yeah, pretty sick. There's a very diverse soundtrack here.
Nice.
Yeah.
So premiere August 2nd, and then the run of premieres. When will we be able to check it out on the interwebs or however we can watch these things?
Well, depending if there's like a global fucking war going on or whatnot. You know what I mean, it's just pretty crazy right now if you're thinking about like all this stuff going on. So, but we're planning on touring the movie both domestically and internationally for about 3 months.
Okay.
So plan on doing the Australians, Brazils, and you know, the East Coast. And I mean, we're going to even hopefully do it at the wave pool in Switzerland and some of these other wave pools. I think, you know, we'll premiere the movie through August, September, and October. And it'll be online, I would guess, around the first week in November.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Sick,
So that's the plan. So.
Right on. Well, thanks, Logan.
Yeah, buddy. Thank you guys. Thank you. Thank 805 Beer for coming on. That's Snap 5's first ever beer sponsor.
Sick.
So
it's a good one. Mine's gone.
It's a good one. Mine's almost gone. Cheers, brother.
Oh, yeah, brother. Thank you.
For having me on.
Yeah, dude.
Finish this thing.
That was fun. That was sick.